Don't mind me, I'm just crying because it's so sad that guys have literally not gone on a date with me because I'm 5'8". They think I'm way too tall. I have like the worst luck. You would think I'm making up this story, but no cap. There have been guys that have canceled dates because they're like, how tall are you? 5'8"? No thanks. So I guess it's gonna be alone and single forever.
Man, isn't that funny how men have standards, apparently a height standard nowadays, and it's starting to shoot women in the foot when they have the standards that, you know, they'll only date some guy that's over 6 foot tall, and, you know, they're surprised that they're single. For real, that's just too funny. I think my mind's kind of melting given that they're starting to see that this is everything backfiring on them. Men are starting to date women like women are dating men. Too funny. All right, have a laugh. We have another compilation here. It's on regretting hookup culture. Let's get into it. I've seen this woman before. Not a very flattering still. Maybe I'll use that in the thumbnail. The title says The Fall of Hookup Culture and Rise of Traditional Dating. I yet to see it.
Seeing the pendulum effect. A few years ago, there was like this rise in popularity towards hookup culture, right? And having a more like casual approach towards dating, pretty much giving women the pass to explore our sexuality without being penalized for it the way previous generations of women have. So many women participated in hookup culture thinking that it was going to grant us.
How exactly were they penalized? I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Us the liberation we had hoped for, because hookup culture.
Sorry, you mean the nuclear family was a bad thing? Is that what you're meaning by penalized? Women were a lot happier back in the day. Surprise, surprise.
Was always attached to like women's sexual liberation. And now that we are on like the other side of it, a lot of women have realized that this is not the thing we expected it to be. So hookup culture is not the empowering thing that we had been promised it would be, because it's not giving us the companionship we're looking for. We are not deriving out of it these mutually benefiting relationships that we want to have. We're still not getting a lot of the respect that we want to have. So I think that that's where a lot of women have said,
why do you think that sleeping around equals us giving you respect? I don't see where things add up there in your broken mind.
hookup culture is not what it has been promised to be. And that is so interesting to me because, yes, I definitely agree. There's certain aspects of hookup culture that have still been very like demeaning to women. But I think that it's also important.
You're demeaning yourselves. It's straightforward. It's not all it's promised to be. Yeah, it shouldn't have been promised to you. That's been the whole issue.
To acknowledge that like progress is not linear, and there's definitely been certain strides that have helped women. And that's where a lot of women are now trying to look for other solutions,
like what?
Looking for different approaches,
like what?
In order to have the kinds of relationships that we want and deserve to have. And that's
You're not going to be respected if you sleep around.
Why we are now seeing this shift towards the other side of the pendulum, which is having a more traditional approach towards dating. And the thing that I find specifically interesting about that is that there is this like girl bossified version of it that is now being popularized, which is that, yeah, go look for your provider husband, but you should still have your own source of income. And I feel like the reason to that is because we have seen the cautionary tale.
Before you prattle on again and pick some more words from your word salad for us to eat, that's just how life is nowadays. Dual income is the only way to make it out. Unless you're supremely rich.
Of previous generations of women who have been financially dependent on their husbands and end up being financially
Or, choose not to date.
Sexually abused by their partners, and they are incapable of leaving relationships or marriages because they don't have the means to do so. So while this could
I've heard of this happening, and it very rarely ever does happen.
Be a way to prevent financial abuse in relationships, it still does not tackle the overall oppression women encounter when they are in relationships with men. It's definitely a way to approach the symptom, but it's not tackling the origin of these issues, which is patriarchy. And I personally have a lot of skepticism towards this more traditional approach.
Blame all of your issues on the patriarchy.
Towards dating. And that's not to say that the other extreme is the answer. I am of the belief that the answer is dismantling patriarchy. And it's also finding a partner who is just as interested in unlearning patriarchal thought and dismantling patriarchy. That way your relationship can genuinely have an equal, respectable, loving dynamic.
In other words, she wants a male feminist. No. Those two words together just don't make sense at all to me. Trying to get to this so-and-so reaching equality, this doesn't make sense to me at all. Let's get this woman that clearly has some sort of Snapchat filter on her face in the frame. Shit, let's continue, I guess.
When I was younger, I was stuck in that whole hookup culture, and I really struggled in romantic relationships. I would go on dates with guys, but it felt like the guys that I was drawn to, I was attracting, I was talking to, all they really wanted was to have sex. And when I was really young, I kept finding men, boys, guys, dudes, whatever the fuck, who I was attracted to and I would hang out with and try to get to know, and they would play it like they were actually interested in me, and they would make me think, because I was naive, I was young, I was easily manipulated, they made me think that they really wanted to be my boyfriend, but all they really wanted to do was have sex with me. And
ding dong.
After talking to, enough guys like that, I genuinely thought that that's just what it's like. That's what dating is like. That's how guys are. And by the time I was like 22, I was so broken. And
yikes, imagine being broken at 22. Sure, I get that people experience a lot of issues when they're, just getting out of the house for the first time, going to college and university. They're seeing things through a different lens of young adults finally being free-ish to do what they want, to learn what they want, and etc., etc. But in any case, yeah, welcome to the real world. And apologies for that little black sphere there. That was an issue with the video. You'll probably see that in the guys, but let's continue.
And I met my ex, who like within a week of talking to him, he told me, like, I'm not trying to sleep with you. I like you. I think you're pretty cool. I like hanging out with you. And I just like ugly cried, because I had never been treated like a person by somebody I was dating. It was up. I've always been chubby, and I had such low self-esteem because of my weight, so I just kind of went along with whatever the fuck the guy wanted, which is really fucked up,
Yeah, but you're the one who chose to do that. Men have to gain self-confidence and all of those things, but you can just wallow in your pity that you're overweight and have low self-esteem, and I'm just gonna hop on any guy's lap. Like, you want us to feel bad for you? Miss me with that.
But I've healed. I've come a long way since then, so
I don't know, it sounds to me like you still have self-esteem issues and are still chubby, so doesn't seem like that to me.
Met my ex, we date for like 3.5 years, and it was a really it was a wild relationship, man. He deployed for like almost a year of that time, and I moved out of my parents' house during that relationship. We had a place together. I mean, I was all in, but we just weren't compatible. Like, we wanted the same things out of life, and I think that's probably why things lasted as long as they did. But as far as like our energy, we're two completely different people. We didn't mesh, and our breakup was ugly, man. It was ugly. It destroyed.
Here's the thing, sometimes opposites attract. It's kind of like you can date people that are exactly like you, but that might be boring, and I mean, I just don't see it. I'm sure some of the guys that are watching here who aren't dating, who would like to have a girlfriend, are like, oh man, I'd love a girlfriend that plays video games and whatnot. But, you know, if all you did was play video games together, you wouldn't have a very interesting life outside of that.
Everything in my life changed when that breakup did, because we were so like intertwined, our lives. And I was so depressed from it all, having to start over, that my boyfriend texted me and interrupted my video. Anyways, when me and my ex
The gull.
broke up, my life fell apart, and it was absolutely traumatizing to go through that, because I was a whole year before COVID happened. So not only did I have to move to a new place, and I was in college, I was working full time, my relationships with my family members suffered.
You know what? I have to cut things short here, and this is just one big pity party of a video. You know, I get it. People have bad relationships all the time, but you're not going to get an ounce of sympathy from me or anybody that's watching this. These are your own issues that you have created. You have to improve yourself and deal with them. So, you know, depression's a bitch. Work on yourself. Find purpose in life. Combat depression. In any case, I think I've had enough of this one. Apologies for sniffling into the mic. It's a little cold. But I'm going to wrap things up there. Like the video if you could, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out Locke's content, as he's starting to put out more and more videos, and he's doing his damnedest. Guy definitely has a voice for radio. So check him out. I'll catch you in the next one. See you then. Always do your due diligence if you're choosing to date out there, so you don't end up regretting hookup culture. See ya.